Hey guys, it's Jackie from Jack Gets Lost Down a Book Hole, and I thought I would go ahead and do my wrap up for April. I don't think there's any way I'm going to get another book done in the next few days unless I read like a short story. And I'm not in the mood for any of those. So I only got 4 books finished this month, because as usual, when I went on a trip to visit my grandmother, I brought several books that were really long that there was no way I was gonna finish them. I mean, it was only a quick weekend trip, so unless I read the whole time I was there was not gonna happen. Because one, we would go out with the family would go out to eat. I would want to watch TV, get on my computer, stuff like there would be there were a lot of distractions. So I admit fully that I could potentially read all day, but I don't. So that's why I can't get like 10 or more books read in a month, because I don't read all day, and I fully admit that. So I'm not gonna complain and be like, why can't I be like those people who read like 20 books in a month? Well, I know why. Because I don't read the whole time. I do other stuff. And believe me, I have plenty of time because I'm only a part-time at my job. So it's not like my work keeps me busy, and I don't drive, so I don't go out that much. So, but let me share the 4 books I did read. Okay, the first book I read this month was a book that I had finished up. So, it's kind of a cheat because I didn't read it through the whole month of April. I read it during the first few days of April, and that is, oh wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry. Where is it? Where's the one I need? This is not the right one. Sorry guys, give me a minute here. Let's go back. Actually, the one I need is down here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I accidentally grabbed the wrong one. That is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in her Shades of Magic trilogy, so I can't really tell you much about what happens in the book, but I can tell you. Let me move this a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna explain. I can tell you a little bit about the trilogy. This is a fantasy world set in an alternate version of London, where there are 4 different types of London. There's Red London, which is magic plentiful, magic is controlled, everybody has it, or has at least a little bit of it. Then there's White London, where magic is killing London. It's ruled by 2 dictator siblings. Then you have Grey London, which has no magic, and it's basically our world. And then you have Black London, which no one speaks of, because basically it's believed that Black London was consumed and destroyed by magic, which is slowly what's happening to White London. And one of our protagonists, because there's technically 2 protagonists, is Kel, who is he is from Red London, and he has magic, and his magic is, he's known as an Antari. He can travel between the Londons and deliver messages to each of the rulers of all the Londons. And he is kind of the adopted son of the royal family of Red London. So he has a brotherly relationship with the Prince Rye. And then there is the character of Delilah Bard, who is a female pirate from Grey London, and somehow she finds her way, bumps into when okay, sorry, as I always say, I'm really bad at these summaries, describing books and summarizing them. So let me rewind. So Kel, during one of his message trips, when he's delivering a message to the king of Grey London, I think, he comes across a stone from Black London. And of course, Black London, everyone believes Black London has been destroyed, so he's in a panic and freaking out because the stone is affecting him, and its power is hurting, is killing people. So he has to get this stone back to Black London, but that means he has to travel through the other Londons to see if he can get access to Black London. And then he runs into Lila, who is a bit reckless and thinks, when she discovers magic is real, she looks at this as, oh, this is so cool, I can use magic, this could be fun. But of course, Kel is like, no, magic is not supposed to be fun. You're supposed to take it very seriously and responsibly. And Delilah at first decides, I can use this to my advantage and use the black stone for myself. But Kel is able to convince her that she can't, and she offers to help him return the black stone. But she's technically not supposed to, because she has no magic and is from Grey London. She's not supposed to be able to cross to the other Londons. Only Antari can do that, and anyone who has magic. But for some strange reason, she is able to do that. She is actually able to cross. And Kel just assumes that it's because she's with him, and they're. So it's this whole time he's also when he's trying to get the stone to Black London, he is trying to avoid the Danes, who are the rulers of White London, and would use the stone for themselves. And they have sent their own Antari, Holland, who, to go after Kel, and the two are kind of rivals and don't like each other, and, Holland is a prisoner of the Danes and is trying to break free of that. And that's basically it of the first book. And then the second book, the different is, the second book has the addition of a tournament, a magic tournament, which I think is, I love the idea. I love magic tournaments. I think that's so cool, and meeting all the different players and learning all about them, and all the background stuff that's going on behind the scenes. The players practicing all and all the bad political, the things that are going on, the political stuff, and all the things that I'm trying to think of a word for it. The stuff basically the stuff going on behind the scenes of this magic tournament. And we get more of Rise. We learn more about Rye's character and get more development on his character, which I think is really interesting. And he does have a love interest in this book. And it also definitely deals with the consequences of what happened at the end of A Darker Shade of Magic. Because something really dramatic, of course, happens at the end of that book. So this book deals with the consequences of that. And the slow anticipation of Lila and Kel meeting again, and how you are starting to notice their developed feelings for each other, because as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And them trying to understand those feelings and trying to ignore those feelings at the same time. And we also get more pirating in this book, which is really cool, and we are introduced to a new character whose name I don't know how to pronounce. Alcalard, I think his name is. I really like him, but I was very worried in this book that it was going to be him versus Kel when it came to Delilah, and as much as I'm okay with love triangles, I'm cooler about love triangles than most people are, I also at the same time don't always want them to happen. Oh yay, the sun's coming out. Although my dad just told me a few minutes ago that a storm from another county is coming our way, which is kind of like, now it's going to be sunny, and then next thing you know, there's going to be a storm coming. It's like, seriously? Although, at least it's warm, though. Thankfully, it's warm again. Even though it's raining, it's warm. It's not cold rain. But anyway, that's off topic here. I'm just, as I've said multiple times before, there's a window right here, so I can see outside. And this one was really cool, and I love Yusuf's writing style, because she's very fast-paced, but you still get good descriptions. That's what I like. That's why I read a lot of YA, especially YA fantasy, because it's a nice little balance of good descriptions, but it's not too descriptive, and it's not as dense, as adult fantasy is, although I'm getting more into adult fantasy. And you still get some depth into the stories. I know some people don't take YA seriously and think it doesn't have a lot of depth because it's just about teenagers, but I feel like these stories have a lot of depth, a lot of character development, and actually, I shouldn't really be saying this because this is not YA, this is her adult book, because when she goes under this name, it's adult. And I haven't read any of her young adult series yet, like her The Savage Song or Dark Duet. I have not read that, but I am interested in reading those at some point. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but I'll get around to those someday. Maybe I'll buy them at Books A Million, or if the charity shop in the village has them, or if if we go get a chance to go to the country bookstore in the little Southern Pines town, then maybe I'll get it there. I don't know, but I'm definitely interested in her young adult books too. But I love this book. I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. But I just think this is good. I know not everybody likes it. I know there are people that don't, but I personally am part of the group of people that loves it and really has enjoyed the series so far. And I cannot wait to read A Conjuring of Light. Which, by the way, I have that on hardback, so I'm actually not one of those people who really is bothered by it if not all my books are the same. I mean, it is weird, but I actually think it adds a little style to my bookshelf when my books are not perfectly the same size. I know it drives some readers crazy, but for me, I think it's really, I kind of like the look of my shelf when, my books aren't, when they're next to each other, when they're stacked together, they're not all the same size. Unless I stack them like this, then it kind of can mess it up because then the balance is off and then the books might fall. But when I have it stacked vertically, I think is the right word. Vertically, then I think it looks really cool. But anyway, so next I read The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. Now, my sister read this book years ago. Then one day she watched the movie and I watched it with her. So I've seen the movie, but I had not read the book. And I also have her other book, The Kitchen God's Wife, which was my sister's. Both of these are my sister's copy. Both that one and this one, The Joy Luck Club, are my sister's copy. So I kind of wanted to get one of them done so I could give it back to her. And I also got to read a book that my brother-in-law lent me as well. And my sister, they're coming to visit us Memorial Day weekend. So I wanted to be able to give this back to her. Plus, next time I see her and we actually go to her house, there's some other books of hers that I would like to borrow. So I can do read some of the books on the list, the books that Rory has read from Gilmore Girls. If you watch Gilmore Girls, she's a character that, if you have not watched Gilmore Girls, Rory is a character that, that reads a lot, and she's really smart and stuff, although she's not always smart. She makes dumb decisions sometimes, but then it wouldn't be interesting if she didn't, and she's only human. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. And they're on the internet, because it's such a popular show, on the internet, there is a way you can get access to Rory's reading list, and, I printed that out, not realizing it was 19 pages, and and I think this book was on there, and I have read a handful of the books that's on that list, and my sister has some of them, that is on some of the books that are on that list as well, but this was I really enjoyed reading the book. I mean, I didn't have an emotional reaction as my sister, because my sister asked me if I cried at the end, and I did not cry, and I feel really bad that I didn't. But I think if I watched the movie, I could potentially cry in the movie. But I mean, I know what's gonna. I knew it was coming, so that might have made it harder for me to get emotional over the story, the ending of the story. Of course, there are a lot of movies that I know I've seen them hundreds of times, yet I still will cry. I mean, it does help if I'm paying attention, I'm watching it the whole time and paying attention to it the whole time and not doing multiple things at once. Because if I'm doing multiple things at once, then sometimes I tune it out. But this is a story that focuses on 4 Chinese immigrant families It mostly focuses on the mother-daughter relationships. You get the backstory of the mothers when they were growing up in China, and then why they came to America, and then how they relate to their Americanized daughters, and how their daughters can't necessarily understand them because they were raised in America and they have more freedom. And American culture is so different from Chinese culture. And it's all kind of, and there's also, and it's all kind of centered around this. They come together as like a club and they play mahjong, which, interestingly enough, my grandma I'm Filipino, and there are Chinese influences in the Philippines, especially with. So I'm actually a little bit familiar with the game of mahjong, which I always thought was really cool, and I definitely want to read more Asian set books. Like I want to read. There's some. I looked up some books that were set in the Philippines that I would like to check out. The Mango Bride is one of them. The title of one of them, and that's and that's a very interesting title because mango. So I think that's an easy title for me to remember. And then there was like two other books that I wanted to check out that are set in the Philippines. But anyway, my only critique of this is that, and maybe that's just because it's easier for me when it comes to movies or TV shows, but sometimes I got confused with the characters, like who was who. I mean, they wrote on the top of the page when they get to that section about that character, then they have the character's name there, but there were so many names and names that are technically foreign to me because I am not Chinese, and I'm only a small portion Filipino. I'm like a quarter Filipino. So I was a little confused with who was who. But I think if I watched the movie, I would probably find it easier. And that's just me. I mean, those of you who, there are other people that read this book that are Chinese that might, or that aren't Chinese and American that might not be confused by that. But I was very confused. And honestly, I don't know how the author, Amy Tan, could fix it so that regular people wouldn't be confused, except for what she did, which was she put the names at the top of the page to let you know whose characters' lives we were in right now. And also, I didn't know when I was in the past either, and when I was in the present with the daughters, which I guess goes the same thing as what I was just saying, which is sometimes I was confused with whose story we were focusing on at the time. But other than that, it was a good book. It's a quick read. It's not, the sections can be a little bit long because it's divided into separate sections. There's not like chapters or anything. It's just divided into various sections, like that character's story and what's going on with them. So it's not, it's not that long. Oh, wait. Oh, I feel bad now. I feel like my criticism is invalid now because they have this list. So I guess my criticism is a little invalid. But anyway, I feel like this is a very relatable book, especially if you're from an Asian, from an Asian country or an Asian culture, whether you're American Asian or completely Asian, just living in America. I think you could really relate to this book and the relationship these daughters have with their mothers and how complicated it is and the conflict of, being Americanized versus, your Chinese heritage and how that can really influence you in a good and a bad way. And it kind of also reminded me of The Namesake. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like when you're talking like Asian cultures or Middle Eastern cultures or Greek cultures, there's always that they really value the importance of still being part of their culture, even if they're living in America, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, but it also can mess with the relationship with their Americanized child because they don't understand why it's so important to you to always remember where you come from until, like, they're an adult themselves. And they learn to respect that and learn to understand it better and appreciate it more. And also, and on the bad side of that, sometimes you can put the parents from those countries and those cultures will put this unnecessary pressure on their child, and it's not exactly fair to the child because their parents have such high expectations that it can ruin the relationship between the child and the parent, because the child can begin to resent their parent, and then by the time they're an adult, then they begin to regret how hard they were on their parents for putting these pressures on them. So it really deals a lot with that. And the same thing with The Namesake, by the way. The Namesake by Jumi Lahiri. I feel bad that I can't pronounce her name. I have to hear it to pronounce it, to figure out how to pronounce it, because yes, I am American, obviously, so sometimes names from other countries are hard for me to pronounce and to figure out the correct pronunciation, and I think that goes for anybody. And but yeah, like I said, both that book and this book, I'm sure a lot of Amy Tam's books kind of deal with that theme. So I really like this. I think I gave it like 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 though because of the whole fact that I was a little confused with who's who and whose story we were talking about. But I definitely think if you're interested, if you are like that kind of stuff about learning about families, especially families from different cultures versus being American, and then I think this is a good book whether you are Asian or not. So the next book I read, this is one of the books I started when I was visiting my grandmother, and that is Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow, which I already talked a little bit about this when I updated you guys on what's been going on with my reading life. This is about a girl named Morgan, obviously, and in her town, she is known as a cursed child. So everybody in town, including her family, blames her for, if anything, for all the bad stuff that goes on in her town. Like, even if, someone trips and hurts themselves, or someone fails a test, or, your house gets infected by insects, or has an insect infestation, or something like any silly little thing that Morgan obviously there's no way she could be the cause of that. She is blamed for it. So, and then one day, during this thing that they have, which is called Bid Day, where children are bid on, and the people that bid on become their sponsors for so they can be apprenticed to them and stuff like that. Morgan is bid on by this mysterious man called Jupiter North, who comes to collect her. And rewind, I forgot to mention. So not only is she cursed, but she's told that on her 11th birthday she will die. So Jupiter North shows up on her 11th birthday and whisks her away just before midnight when this evil entity is coming after her, and takes her to the magical and whimsical world of Nevermore. But first, before she is told that she can be part of the Wondrous Society of Nevermore, but she has to pass these trials, these 4 sets of trials, before she can join the Wondrous Society, a society where she'll get friendship, love, and she will have a family. Now this is a middle grade read, and of course, being middle grade, it's very easy. It was very quick and easy for me to read. I love this book. I definitely want to read more middle grade, and I enjoyed this a lot more than the first 4 or 3 novels of a series of unfortunate events. I mean, I imagine if I read them as a kid, that particular series, and maybe I would have been into it more, but I definitely enjoyed this more than that. This is so fun. I love all, the grumpy talking cat, the giant talking cat. I love Finastra. She was so awesome. Jupiter North was such a cool, interesting character. And I love characters that are like father figures to our main character, our main female protagonist, if that's the case. I always love those stories. Or not just female characters. also male characters that are kids and they have someone who's a father figure to them. I love those kind of relationships. And I think that's partly because I have a really good relationship with my own father, so I love reading about that in books. And I feel like Morgan has a really good, stable, starting relationship with Jupiter North. And I think the whole concept of the trials is really cool. And there with the whimsicalness of the hotel where she stayed and lived. And I love all the characters were so interesting. I like her friends. What is his name? I can't remember her friend's name. I'm trying to I don't want to say too long, but she makes this friend, this boy that becomes her friend. I really like his character. And I also really like the whole idea, like, Jupiter North has this interesting special gift. The whole, like, each of the people of the wonders of this world, of the Wondrous Society, all have special gifts, and that's part of what gets them into this Wondrous Society. And that's one of her trials. She has to present a gift, a talent of hers, and she doesn't know what that is. She doesn't even know if she has one, but Jupiter keeps insisting that she does, or that he'll take care of it when the time comes. But I really liked he explains to her his own gift, which was really cool. He is what they call a witness, where he can see the story of an object, the essence of someone or something, which is really interesting. It's like kind of like cognitive, the power of precognitive, where you can see everything, not just the basic physical stuff about an object or a person, but also their whole history. And I think that is just such a cool concept. I think that's so interesting. But this was such a great book, and it was so fun, and I really enjoyed it. It was just such a great book, and I definitely recommend it if you like middle grade. And I think I gave it 5 stars, of course, on Goodreads. Okay, so the last book I read this month was Queen of Shadows. I finally finished this up because I started this book months ago. I don't know if I started it at the end of last year or at the beginning of this year, but I took a long break because I was really struggling with it. But the ending was not the second half of the book into the ending was like non-stop excitement and thrilling, and so much was going on, and I'm glad I finally finished it, because now I can get to Empire Storms and I can get Tower of Dawn, which I am a huge fan. I am a Chaol fan still, despite what happened, because I know not everybody loves Chaol. I mean, of course, now I think I've heard that a lot of the Chaol haters love him again because of Tower of Dawn. But this is the fourth book in the series. So I can't really tell you a lot about what happened in this book. But basically, it's, we have this character, Celaena Sardothien. She has been imprisoned in her kingdom. She's a prisoner, and the crown prince and the captain of the guard have taken her out of prison, and have offered she could be the king's assassin if she joins this special competition to become the assassin. So she goes through all these, all these different competition activities to prove herself. And of course, there's danger, and there's something bigger going on. And it's a fantasy series, and I love the series. I'm not always happy with the things that, with like the characters, and I know that Sarah J. Maas isn't good at diversity. Yesterday I watched a video where someone said that she's really not a good fantasy writer. I do disagree. I think she's great, and actually that makes me self-conscious, because it makes me question when I hear someone saying she's not that great of a writer. It makes me question myself, because I want to be an author myself. I'm trying to work on writing my own book, and it makes me think, and a part of me is thinking, am I wrong? Is she not a good writer? And will this influence my own writing? I know, I shouldn't really let that bother me, and it's this girl's opinion. I'm not even friends with this girl, at least not personally. I like her as a booktuber, and I watch her videos, and I'm not going to be one of those people, no matter how much I get like a little sensitive. No matter how angry I get at someone's opinion, I don't stop subscribing to them just because I disagree with their opinion. I still will watch their videos. I just might have a moment where I'm like, I get a little frustrated and yell at the computer screen, but then I end up moving on. Dang it, this video might be too long. But anyway, I enjoyed the fourth. I have mixed feelings about the fourth book. Sometimes I like it. I mean, I like it overall. I enjoy it overall, but there were parts of it that got me really frustrated and made it harder for me to read. I think I don't know if I give this 4 or 5 stars. I think I gave it 4. And this is definitely the fourth book was really good. I definitely, it would be kind of hard for me to I recommend the series. I can't recommend this book specifically, but if you are like fantasy worlds and, fairies, because there are fairies in the series, and magic and all that stuff. Although I will say this, like I said, she's not very good. She's not the best at diversity, and some people have said she's not the best writer. But I will say this, one of the other criticisms people have had in the past about is there's not a lot of assassinating going on in this book, in this series by our main character, and that's what she's technically supposed to be an assassin, so people might be, if you start this series, just to warn you. So anyway, so yeah, I was able to squeeze that one in. And then currently, I'm thinking about DNFing these 2 books because they're just not my thing. I'm kind of losing interest in them. The Jasper, which is a thriller about this famous lawyer / bootlegger who killed his wife, murdered his wife, and it's about the trial and everything. And this is based on a true story, in the 20s, and it's okay, and it's a fast read, but I'm just losing interest in it. And then I'm also reading Big Little Lies, which is, essentially Australian kindergarten mothers behaving badly. It's kind of interesting, and this also has quick chapters, but I'm losing interest. I don't like reading a lot. These books are not usually, I don't read these books all the time unless I'm in the mood for them. And then I started reading a buddy read with acquaintance friend on Facebook. I'm getting my social networks mixed up. On my Facebook, one of my Facebook reading groups, we started reading this one, which I needed to get back into this one, and I ended up starting from the beginning. I love George R. R. Martin's writing style, and it's kind of funny because one of my favorite characters is Arya, but sometimes her chapters are kind of boring to me, while Bran is not my favorite character, but his chapters can be really interesting. And most people, it's the opposite. They love, where they find Bran don't really like Bran's chapters and want to skip them. So I haven't got very far. We just like the one, but I love it, and I think I need to read it before the new season starts, because then I'll stop reading it eventually. So that's why I decided to put this on as a suggestion for a buddy read. Okay, so that is my wrap up. Hopefully I won't have to refilm this because this video got kind of long. I might have to, and there might be no point in this. But if I don't, and you like this video when I publish it, then be sure to give a thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching my video if you have, and I will see you guys later. Bye.